Hello students, welcome to the next lecture series of Basic Electrical Engineering. Today we are going to see what is the constructional details. Okay, today we will see constructional details of DC generator. So what are the constructional details of, it's not DC generator, of alternator. So we are already told in alternator we will have mainly two parts. One is stator, okay, which is carrying the winding, that is the conductors here. Okay, next second one is rotor. So rotor is carrying the field winding. So these are the two main parts in any type of the alternator we will have. One is the stator. Stator is having the windings, means it is carrying the conductors. Okay, so here I already told conductors are stationary here. Okay, these conductors are stationary. Next these field windings are getting excited by a DC source and they are rotating. So this is the basic principle of the alternator. So here you can observe the alternator constructional part. So here there are windings will be there. Here the windings of which are placed on the stator here, the windings are placed on the stator here. Then you will have another part, that is the rotor here. Okay, for the rotor we have to give some excitation, that is the field excitation is given. Then we will have the rotor field. So rotor field will be travels from, so we can represent like this, the rotor field will be travels from like this, in this way. So from north pole to south pole it is traveling in this fashion. So that, and what we are doing is, and we are doing externally, we are rotating with the one source. Okay, we are rotating externally with this source like this. This is in the case of, that means whenever you are rotating, the field also getting rotated. So that is the operation of the alternator we have seen. And these conductors are stationary here in the case of the stator. Okay, let us discuss each and every part of the alternator. First we will take the stator. Okay, let us take the stator. First one is stator. So in case of a stator, so actually it is made up of CRGO steel. It is made up of CRGO steel. CRGO means cold rolled grain oriented. The same material, grain oriented, we have used for transformer also, that is cold rolled grain oriented material we are used. Okay, or sometimes we will use the silicon steel. Why we are using this material is, which is having low permeability. Okay, so the material which is having low permeability, it's high permeability it is having, high permeability it is having, low hysteresis loss, it is having low hysteresis loss. That's why we are going for the hysteresis loss. We have already discussed in case of the transformer. That's why we are going to use this type of material. And to minimize the eddy current losses, okay, to minimize eddy current losses, the stator is laminated. Okay, the stator one is laminated here to minimize the eddy current losses. And the windings are which are separated by a varnished. Okay, each winding is separated from a varnished insulation or paper insulation. Okay, it may be varnished or paper insulation we are taking for the separation of the winding in case of stator. And if you observe the stator slots, I will show the stator slots also. So we are having the, actually the stator slots we are having, so three types. I will show the types. See these types of the stator slots. Okay, these are the stator slots type. So in this we are having, one is the open type. This is called as the open type. This is called as the semi closed type. This is called as the closed type of slots. Okay, so normally we will use the open type of slots. Why we are using the open type of slots? In some other cases we will use the semi closed slots. Okay, semi closed type of slots. In maximum we will use the open type of slots, because in the open type, so you can replace, okay, first one is you can replace very easily the winding. You can replace winding very easily whenever you are having any damage. So and leakage flux is also less. Okay, leakage flux is less, so that's why we are going to use the normally the open type of slots in case of the stator. Here in case of stator we are going to use the open type of slots here. So and if you observe, the semi closed type of slots we will use for small machines. For small machines we can use the semi open type of slots. Normally we won't use the semi open, because all the alternators are only bigger size only we will design, and closed type we won't use, never use the closed type of slots. Okay, in these slots we are going to place the conductors like this. Here we are going to place the conductors, that is what I am telling. So the conductors, if you observe in the previous diagram, here we are placing the conductors. Here how they are placed means, the conductors will be placed like this. Here the conductors are placed in case of either open type or semi closed type of slots. That means construction, if you observe the construction of the stator will be having like this. So it is open type. Let us consider the open type of slot like this we will have. So it is having one more type will be like this. So that is the construction of the stator, which is having only stator slots. In this stator slots we are going to place the conductors. So in this slots we will place the conductors like this. So this is called as the stator winding. So stator will be always connected in a star connection. The stator winding will be always connected in star connection. Three phases are taken out, okay, and neutral is connected to the ground. That is the advantage. So why it is going for the only star connection means, because so the in the star case the line voltage you can reduce by √3 times, so that the material, that means the insulating material will be very less. So that is the advantage we are having with the star connection, right? This is the important details about the stator. Let us go to the rotor. So here rotors is having two types of rotors in case of the alternators. One is salient pole alternator or projected pole, that is the name also it is given, projected pole alternator. Another one is non-salient or cylindrical. Both are same, non-salient or cylindrical rotors here. So here we have two types of rotors. One is salient pole, projected pole, or another is non-salient pole or cylindrical rotors, and it is also made up of thick laminations. Okay, so we are having laminations only. Here also it is going to do the laminations, okay, because to reduce the eddy current losses. And the field winding is placed on the pole shoe. Field winding is placed on the pole shoe. So what is the, I will show here what is the pole shoe and where it is the field winding. Whatever you are seeing here, this is the what it is, salient pole. If you observe, this is also called as the projected pole. If you observe the poles here, if you observe the poles, so if you observe the poles here, so they are projected outwards. That's why the name it is given as projected pole type of the alternator. Okay, and if you observe the field winding, are you able to observe the field winding here? So the field winding will be placed on the pole shoe. This is called as the pole shoe. Okay, this is the pole here and this is called as the pole shoe, this part, and placed on the field winding is placed on the pole shoe. Okay, so whenever you are having field winding, this field winding is getting excited by a external DC source. The DC source may be a shunt motor or shunt generator, or may be used for the excitation of the field winding of alternator. Okay, that is acting like a DC source. Now whenever we have, because if you observe here, this is the imbalance construction. How I am saying it is imbalance construction, here if you see the gap will be there between the each pole, we are having some gap. So there is a imbalance, mechanical imbalance will be there. So because of this reason we cannot rotate. Okay, this cannot rotate at high speeds. Whenever you are rotating the high speed, there is a high mechanical stresses will be there on the rotor, so that they may get damaged. So stresses will be high, so centrifugal forces will be high. Stresses means here centrifugal forces, I can say it is centrifugal forces are very high in case of the, because of mechanical imbalance construction. That's why we cannot rotate at higher speed. This can be used only for the speed 50 rpm to 1000 rpm. That is the maximum range we can use for the salient pole rotors. So as the frequency is fixed here, so one thing I want to tell, as the frequency is fixed here 50 Hz, and P we can calculate as 120 F by N. So we are already know this formula, 120 into F is 50, so N is let us consider 50. So 50 will get cancelled. How many poles will be required? 120 poles. For example, 120 into 50 divided by 1000 means how will get, it will get cancelled as some 60 poles, minimum 60 poles are required. Okay, so here what you are going to get, so sorry, 6 poles are required. Here you are going to get 6 poles. So minimum 6 poles are required, but maximum 120 poles are required here. Whenever your number of poles are increasing, you see this point, when the number of poles are increasing, what will happen? The diameter will be increases. As the diameter will be increases, what will happen is the power is directly proportional to actually volume of rotor. Whatever the power output you are getting from this is, it is depend upon the volume of rotor. Volume of rotor is proportional to axial length, okay, into area of the rotor. So what is axial length? Here we are taking it as L, and the area will be pi by 4 d square, where d is the diameter. So pi by 4 it is a constant value, we can take it as power is directly proportional to d square into L. So whenever you are increasing the, what is happening here, diameter is increasing for given power output, so what you are going to get, you have to decrease the what, length. So length will be decreases here. So what is happening, length is decreases, so length will be decreases in case of rotor. So it is having the larger diameter, okay, larger diameter, less axial length. So it is having larger diameter, less axial length in case of the salient pole rotor, that is for given power output. Okay, this is the salient pole rotor. Next we will see what is the non-salient pole rotor. Okay, what is the non-salient pole rotor, we will see now. So this is the non-salient pole type. Okay, so this is the non-salient, or we can say it as non-salient pole, or we can say cylindrical rotor. In case of non-salient pole, you can observe here, so the stator, sorry, the rotor shape you can observe here, it is a cylindrical in structure. Okay, it is a cylindrical in structure. This is called as the non-salient pole type of rotors. In case of non-salient pole rotor or cylindrical rotor, we are having, it is, first we will see which type of material it is made. So it is made up of nickel, chromium and molybdenum to increase mechanical strength. Okay, so solid steel, it is a solid steel mixed with nickel, okay, nickel and molybdenum, so to increase the mechanical strength of this, it is made up of that solid steel with combination of nickel and molybdenum. And if you observe the structure clearly, 2/3 is slotted Okay, if you observe clearly, 2 by third is slotted, 1 by third is not slotted. If you observe here, so I will show that. So 1 by third is only slotted here. Okay, 2 by third only slotted, 1 by third is not slotted, 1 by third is not slotted. So whatever it is slotted here, so this is 2 by third, it is slotted. Slotted means you can place the conductors here, you can place the conductors like this. We are going to place the conductors here. Okay, so remaining part which is not slotted, the which is not slotted part is acting like a poles in case of the non-salient pole machines. Okay, so in case of non-salient pole, this can be used for high speeds because maximum it is having the structure will be, that means which is balanced. So that's why we can use for high speeds purpose, which can be used in steam turbines or gas turbines. We can use this type of salient pole machines. And coming to the power developed will be, we are already know that is proportional to d square L. As the number of poles, as it is the speed is high, means we can require less number of poles. If less number of poles is there, means what will happen, the diameter is also decreases. As the diameter is decreases, for given power output the length will be increases in case of the cylindrical type of pole rotor. So it is having, what we can say, we can write it about, it is less diameter. Okay, it can be having less diameter and more axial length. So that is the difference between the salient pole rotor and non-salient pole rotor. Okay, so here very advantage is you can rotate at high speeds, you can rotate at high speed. For high speeds we have to use this type of cylindrical rotor or non-salient pole type of rotor. That are the constructional details of the alternator. Okay, that is the constructional details of the alternator. Let us take what is the EMF equation. Okay, so as we know what is the EMF equation, we'll take now EMF equation of alternator. EMF equation of alternator. So if you observe, Z you are already know. Okay, Z is number of conductors, the terminology I am using. Z is number of conductors here. Whatever the terminology I am using, I am going to write here first. Phi is the flux per pole. Phi is the flux per pole. Next, P is the number of rotor poles. Number of rotor poles. Next, N is the rotor speed in RPM. Rotor speed in RPM. Next, here we can write as what is the flux cutting. We are already taken in case of DC generator also. The flux cutting will be d phi, that will be P into phi. And what is the dt will be, that is 60 by N. For N revolutions it is 60. For N revolution it is taking 1 minute. For 1 second it is how many revolutions, that is dt. So you are going to get average induced EMF. So average induced EMF in case of induced EMF in one conductor. In one conductor we can write it as, so that is d phi by dt. So d phi is how much, P pi. Next, dt is 60 by N. We can write as N P phi divided by 60. And we will have total number of Z conductors. So total average, so we can write as total average EMF per phase will be equals to, we can write as P phi N by 60 into Z. So here you are already know. And what is the value of the speed? So I am substituting here P phi Z by 60 is, speed will be 120 F by P. We are already know. PP will gets cancelled here, 62. What you are going to get, 2 pi ZF. 2 pi ZF volts, that is the total average EMF per phase. So now I want the average value. So now I want the RMS value. If you want the RMS value, what you can do, that is 1.11 into average value. That means 2.22 into 5 into Z into F you are going to get here. Next, here you can observe what is the EMF ERMS per phase. ERMS per phase is, see here we are taken for one coil. So what about the per phase means we are having 2 turns. So that you can multiply, that will be multiply with the into 2. So you can multiply with the 2 here. So what you are going to get finally 4.445 FZ, 4.545 FZ. Okay, and Z will be here, it is taken as T. Z will be taken as T here. So number of turns, for number of turns we are calculating. So ERMS per phase. And finally we are having one more factor here. ERMS can be written as 4.44 F5 into T Kp Kd. So you are not having this. What is the meaning of the Kp is, it is called as the pitch factor. Okay, so in your syllabus it is not given that to do the derivation of Kp and Kd, just is asked the he give the formula is given. The Kd is called as the distribution factor, and multiplication of both these two we are calling it as the Kp, and Kd we are calling it as the sometime Kw, that is called as the winding factor. Winding factor also he will give in the problem. So this is the very important equation we will have. So 4.44 F into, so this you have to note down. ERMS will be 4.44 F into Kp into Kd. That is the EMF equation of the alternator. Is very important question for the external examination. That's all in this video. If you are seeing first time this channel, please like, share and subscribe the channel, so which is very useful for your friends. If you have any queries, you can comment in the comment box, I can reply. So thank you very much.